Hey you guys, Caitlin here. So I wanted to talk to you about how to deal with people who display passive aggressive behavior. Now, this is something that I've dealt with a lot in life. Um, Growing up, I think it was more of like suppressing versus actually having peace. And so what I can now see reflected around me is still that behavior of what could be labeled as passive aggression from people around me who are not on the same path as I am. So if you are surrounded by that too, I hope this video can help. So I used to get very triggered by passive aggressive behaviors. Rightfully so. It can feel, it's more triggering because it doesn't hit you right away about the damage, right, that's being inflicted, or about the intention. So someone can say something, maybe a day will go by, and then it won't hit you until the next day. And this also perpetuates not resolving things, right? It perpetuates avoidance in relationship dynamics. So this can be the cause of trauma, right? But if you're growing spiritually, and if you're at the place where you feel that you've done the work to surpass the trauma, you've released it, you've released the narratives, but these things are still showing up in your reality because you're on people who are not on the same path of you, who have not chosen to do the deep work of healing. Now you're presented with a choice, right? So the choice is, how do I manage this situation? Do I continue confronting someone who's made it clear that it's not their path? It's not their path to resolve things within themselves. They're not, aware enough to really be the change they want to see in the world. Or do I transcend this like an eagle? Can I rise above it? And of course, when we transcend it, we don't want to just bypass it, meaning if we feel an effect on our body and in our frequency, even if we might not feel it right away, but if we feel the impact of someone's behavior on our frequency later on, we have to deal with that, right? We notice it, we say, oh, that did affect me, let me manage this. So here's a way I managed it. What Puma Chandron's books have taught me is to literally embody compassion and love in these moments. So for example, I noticed someone said something to me yesterday that I chose not to engage with mentally. So that's the first step, right? Is when we see these things, when we have that discipline and power of observation and we're in the I am, when we're interacting with others, when these behaviors that once traumatized us come out, especially with that of what can be described as covert narcissistic behavior, well, now we're aware enough where, okay, we're strong enough mentally to not interact with it, right? So in the moment it happened, I didn't interact with it because I was like, okay, I'll watch it go by, However, the next day, my mind and my body picked up on that energy, and it's almost like it carried it as a weight. It still attached meaning of harm to the person's behaviors, to the comment they made. And the meaning that was attached was, oh, that was passive aggressive. So by me labeling that, I created an attachment to the behavior. I allowed it to affect my frequency. Okay, does that make sense? So when we feel something attaching negatively, quote unquote, negatively to us, that's actually the process that is happening. We labeled something, meaning we made a judgment of it, And Jesus said, with the measure of which you judge, you will be judged also. It's literally what he's talking about in the Bible then is attaching to the frequency. We're creating that in our life. We're creating whatever we judge. So I said, oh, that's passive aggressive. Ouch, that hurt. My body picked up the meaning. That's trauma stored in the body. Okay, got it? So even though I did ignore it when I was interacting with them, but I felt it come in still after. I felt my body process it in a negative way. So now the next day, here I am, once again having to embody compassion and love. So the moment I noticed that I attached to a negative narrative, to the narrative of that was passive aggressive, this is what happened, ouch, that hurt, I took my hands, I put them in a praying position, just to ground my energy. I closed my eyes and I just did like a meditative state where I became quiet. And as soon as I noticed the thought of that narrative in my head, I said, I am embodiment of love and compassion. And I generated the feeling of love and compassion in my body towards that thought and towards the narrative. So in that way, I dissolved it. Again, this is something that's talked about in the 4 agreements, which is a huge foundation to everything I'm teaching now. But we're making agreements all the time. And so I made an agreement unknowingly that when I said that's passive aggressive behavior that hurt me, I made an agreement to that, and therefore it did hurt me. Okay, therefore I created that. So this is a practice of breaking that agreement I made so that there can be peace and complete dissolving of that trauma to a cellular level and also energetically. So that's the practice I did. I hope this helps someone. This is how we can practice resolving traumas within ourselves, especially if behaviors are displayed in front of us. There's certain people we can't have a conversation with. We can't be forthcoming with when there is such when we're at different levels of awareness, right? So when we are wanting to change or wanting to heal, when we want accountability, we're going to have a different perspective than someone who just wants to do whatever they want and they mean no harm, so they think they're okay in saying anything they want to. Does that make sense? I know we're surrounded by people like that. So it's the choice of, what do I entangle with myself? What is best for my spiritual path? So for me, the goal is to not step out of that higher self, to maintain it. And when we do recognize we've stepped out of it, whether in front of someone or even in our own time, that we have to harmonize it. We have to harmonize that. And so that's what this practice allowed me to do. I hope this helps you. And thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if this helped you, please, because that helps the channel too, and it helps others see this video. Thanks for watching.